It's Thursday, September 12th, 2019, and you're listening to the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable.
Remember, this is what we said, to never be heard or seen from again. Remember, this is what we wanted. Remember, this is what we said, to never be heard or seen from again.
Hello, and welcome to the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. I'm your host, Chris Quinn, coming to you, as always, from beautiful Studio B, glamorous Studio B. If you guys can only see this place in lovely Bridgeport, Chicago, at the Co-Prosperity Sphere. Thank you guys so much for having me once again. Thank you to the fearless leader of Lumpen Radio, Mr. Logan Bay, as well as Jamie Trecker for dealing with us. Always appreciated. And thank you to everyone out there who is listening over the airwaves on 105.5 FM, Lumpen Radio, broadcasting out of Bridgeport, Chicago. Well, I think it's technically not out of Bridgeport, but you guys don't know any better. So, yeah, we'll say it's out of Bridgeport. So thank you for tuning in or getting on the Lumpen app to listen live, or the TuneIn Radio app as well. You can listen live. And if you're listening via all right. Okay. I just had to make sure before I
confirming that we are in fact in Bridgeport.
It was. And before I admonish anyone, I had to make sure it wasn't me, because let's be real. But anyway, if you are listening live, thank you. If you're listening, like most people do, via podcast, thank you as well. Although I just heard before going on that the iPod app for iPhone is broken. But friend of the show, Doug Valicki, just said you can listen on Radio Garden now. And he says it's really cool, he said. He says it's a really neat app. So take it from the beer cruncher himself, Radio Garden. It's the new. So get on that and you can listen to the show. Now, if you do listen to the show, we always appreciate likes and that sort of thing. Word of mouth is good too. And just kind of, spread the word. So if you're listening for the first time, something I like to kind of mention at the top of every show is just kind of what this show, the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable, is all about. And hold on, I should probably take I was going to try to take a picture of literally every one of my guests just absorbed into their own phones. But
yeah, you know what that means? That means get it going here, Quinn.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, what I was going to say is this is what I love best about being in beer, sitting around with a bunch of people whom I admire and talking beer with them. But I guess I have to take it back because you're all the worst.
Well, when we go to tap rooms, everyone's just sitting around looking at their phones anyway. So this is just a little slice of reality here.
Yeah. So yeah, that's essentially what we try to do with this show is just bring people in who've made a beer a part of their life in one form or another, and just talk about stuff. So with that, I have to mention that everyone's opinions on this show are their own and are not the opinions of any other entity they may be associated with or not associated with. For example, Pat Berger's opinions are not the opinions of Beer Opinions, for example, necessarily. So, or Lumpen Radio, or
says
Beer
you.
Temple. Yeah, says exactly. Says I.
My opinions are the opinions.
Oh, okay.
Of Kaiser Tiger, Patty Longs.
Okay.
No longer Beer Opinions. I haven't done Beer Opinions in a while.
Well, okay, that's fine.
I think it's dead.
But so we introduce people in order of seniority, that being how many times you've been on the show. So you're the senior member of the panel, Mr. Berger. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well. Saw you yesterday.
I know.
For a secret tapping of Pilsner, unfiltered Pilsner Kel.
It's true. Yes.
Yeah. It was good.
It was good.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
I was talking with Steven, who works at the bar today, and he was saying that it seems to me that it's slightly different every time we have it. It's always good. Sometimes it's incredible. Sometimes it's good. Have you noticed that, or is that just in our minds that over time we kind of, I don't know.
Well, there's a couple factors. One is how old it is, right? And sometimes it gets caught up in customs. But I think the biggest factor is where you're having it, you know. And I've become a bit of a junkie. So I've been hitting other bars that have it. And
you guess, let me guess, you serve it the best.
How'd you know?
I don't know. I just had a feeling that's what you were going to say.
No, well, it's not that as much as I don't think some of the Northwest Side Polish bars are cleaning their lines quite as fastidiously as is that a word?
Do. Yeah,
as
fastidiously. Yeah,
I'm checking with Josh.
Yeah, ask
is that
the
a
writer.
All right, good.
Yeah.
But sometimes it is on the cusp. It only gets 30 days, I think. Sometimes it's comes to me 6 days old, and sometimes it comes to me 28 days old.
Okay. I've had it sometimes, and it's so hoppy that it's almost like a...
Well, then the pour, there's different pours you can do. And then whether or not you're getting it out of the side pour, which it took a lot of convincing for me. That's how we pour it. We have this Czech side pour.
Oh, the faucet, you mean?
Yeah. So,
okay, yeah, I know those. Yeah. Are you a fan of those faucets?
I am.
For Pils or Kel, or just in general?
Well, for lager beer, I'm a big fan of them. Yes.
Okay.
I've truthfully never had any other style of beer through them. So, maybe they're good for all. They're expensive, and they're only, made in the Czech Republic, and they don't play nice with American shanks. So you can't, buy one and hook it up to your tap tower. But you have to think of it as, the difference between a light switch that just goes on and off and a dimmer switch, where you have all of this play to do different things with the foam. And you can make the beer taste different, the exact same beer, two different, in a
with
couple of different ways.
Carbonation level, essentially.
With carbonation level and how you build the head. You can build the head on top of the beer or underneath the beer, and it all makes a difference.
Okay. What's your favorite way to drink it?
I like the smooth, which is...
with the foam on top.
The foam on top.
Yeah.
But sometimes I like the crisp. The crisp is a little hoppier.
Okay.
And the crisp is probably the more common because it's easier.
Right.
It's the easiest way to pour it. And that's what we actually teach at Kaiser, because we have, big staff, and I just want them to do one of them right, and then some of them can do the smooth as well, and then there's a few others that are
I was drinking the smooth yesterday, right? Or is that the crisp?
I think I don't know. I don't remember. It was Anna.
Yeah.
Probably the smooth.
Yeah, I think
I have
it was
to ask her.
smooth. Yeah. And then
Do
you
all
like
the servers
drinking...
have different pour styles? Is that what's up?
Well, some know how to do one way, and some know how to do the other way. Some know how to do all the ways. So it's a big staff to train. I mean, it's this is something that a lot of bars don't deal with. You don't train your staff on how to pour a beer. Sometimes a lot of bars don't.
Right.
Some bars do, but they don't have to go to this length. And someone was telling me they were at I don't know, one of the cult breweries. Was it maybe Hill Farmstead or one of those guys? And they had a side pour, Czech side pour faucet. Apparently they do a Pilsner every once in a while, and they pour it out of there. And the bartender was going on about how much they hate it. They're like, this is this stupid thing causes all this foam. And it is the point, but if you're not trained on it, it would bother you, and especially if you're trying to pour it like an American pint of beer.
Right.
You would go, wait a minute, half of this beer is foam, and it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Bring out the carbon. It's the slow pour. It's the slow pour.
It's different. The slow pour is another technique.
It's a different technique, but I think it probably gets you to the same place as the smooth, because it pulls out some of the carbonation, smooths out, and gives you that kind of stabilizing head. Is a guess?
They're totally different. And the Czech side pour is actually designed to pour fast.
Okay.
So it's the opposite of slow pour.
Right, but my point isn't
And
the
it's
end
not-
result supposed to be to get
No,
the
the-
carbonation out?
Well, I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll admit to not knowing exactly
it's fine. I
about
forgive
getting
you.
the carbonation out. I've never
Okay.
heard that term, but they are different, and you're not trying to get that head up above the rim of the glass like you are with the slow pour.
Yeah, right,
That's not
right.
what you're doing with the side pour.
Building that kind of stability. All right,
Right,
we've
right,
talked
right.
enough about pour styles. We'll
Passing the
after
mic.
show, we'll continue to talk. Yeah,
Get
but
really deep into
yeah,
this.
yeah.
I thought this was a nerd.
It is
nerd safe zone.
It is, and we've nerded out for quite a bit.
Passing the mic.
Yeah,
But have you had a slow pour hard seltzer?
I have not. I haven't. I've
The
never had
mango
one on. Yeah.
really pops.
Yeah,
it's
I'm sure.
just in the black cherry.
No, I like it crisp. I do it. I'm a crisp guy when it comes to my pour style for pills.
No.
For a seltzer.
you,
Crispy
you just
seltzer,
killed it
bro.
right there, man.
Yeah,
Like all I know is when it's claws, there's no laws, baby.
yeah,
God, the
that's
end
right.
of the world
Yeah.
is near.
Yeah, it's true. So anyway, I heard you're doing a pop up all seltzer, all different pour styles. Is that true, Pat?
No.
Oh, okay.
I keep trying to pass this mic. Quit asking me questions.
Okay.
Tell me to quit talking.
All right.
Move on.
Mr. Josh Noel of the Chicago Tribune. How are you, sir?
Great.
What's new?
What's new? A lot. It's a great time to be thinking about beer. Doesn't mean things are going great necessarily, but it's sure
Yeah.
an interesting time.
Yeah. Well, what's occupying your mind, your headspace right now?
Hard seltzer. Just can't
Yeah.
get away from it. It's the
Can't.
summer of hard seltzer.
It is. I think it's going to have a. People are like, oh, when do you think the fad's going to be over? And I don't know if White Claw is going to be around forever, but I think the effects of this boom in seltzer is going to be for the foreseeable future. I mean, essentially forever, I think, is my guess. I think it's just going to change things forever.
Oh, that's big.
you
Are
think-
we,
I think
are we
so.
going there right now?
We
are
can.
We doing it? Oh.
We should probably introduce everybody. Well,
Okay. We'll come back.
We'll
to hard
come
seltzer.
back.
But everything's good. Thank you for asking.
Yes.
Yeah. Hold that thought.
Are the Cubs going to make the
The
playoffs?
whole second half of the show is going to be hard seltzer. I just have a feeling.
No.
It seems there's just a lot going on. It's just a really rich time to be thinking about beer and writing about beer and talking about beer.
Cool.
So
Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. My next two guests are first-time guests. So the way we'll do it is we'll introduce the way it works, guys, is first-time guests introduce themselves, and if you could just let everyone know who you are as it relates to beer, that'd be great. Mike, why don't you go first? And then,
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. My name is
Welcome.
Mike Zoller, the Midwest editor of PorchDrinking.com, national beer blog started in 2012. And yeah, I've just been covering the Chicago beer scene while I kind of handle the Midwest region, being based in Chicago and such a large craft beer scene here. It's kind of where my focus has been, and watching it grow up since 2012 has been pretty fun.
that's cool. I mean, that's a interesting time to get in, right? As it was like,
Yeah. I think
taking
when we
off.
started, there was like 9 or 10 breweries. You know, Revolution was still pretty new, Goose, Beta Brow, and now I think 2014 was the first real boom where you had everyone start to open up, and ever since then, just skyrocketing.
skyrocketing. Still is, man. Still
Yeah.
just tons and tons and tons of breweries opening, it seems. And it's funny now. We've reached the point where you'll be in a room with several people who are in the Chicago craft beer industry, and someone else will come in and mention a brewery that just opened, and nobody else in the room will have ever heard of it, was expecting it, knew anything about it. Not to say that those breweries are bad, but just to say there's now so many that it's not even that the first kind of tipping point was you can't keep up what's on the shelves anymore. Like, you can't know everything.
It's impossible.
And now you can't even keep up with your own city anymore. It's crazy.
We were at a beer festival on Saturday, and there was a brewery pouring there I'd never heard of. And I tweeted it out, and some people had heard of it, so others hadn't. I think, Josh, you actually responded. They're brewing out of Pilot Project?
Pilot Project, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Orkanoy is what
yeah.
I'm talking about. They're brand new, so
Yeah.
you shouldn't have heard of them, really. But
Who was
they're
it?
Just Orkanoy?
Orkanoy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah, there you go. You've heard of Pilot Project is pretty brand new.
yeah, they opened a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now.
Yeah, they've got an interesting model. I think I could be wrong, but they're kind of mini contract brewing.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll take on a client as small as, I think, 1 barrel of beer. So
Yeah.
that's 2 kegs. So basically, if you want to start, Pat, for the record, Pat is shaking his head with
With
what
his
looks
eyes
like
closed.
dismay.
With his eyes closed. Just a closed eye head shake.
So if it's a
Slow
home brewer
shake.
wants to turn pro, they can, wade very, very gently into the stream. Whereas most of the larger contract brewers, as you probably know, you have to make 500 barrels in a year or something. You have to commit to a lot more. So this way,
But if you want to
can
do
really
a
start
wedding
small.
beer, if
you can do 2 kegs.
a restaurant wants to have their own line of beer, they'll have that sort of stuff for you. I guess is kind of what.
Exactly, all that. But I think they're more interested. I wrote about them a couple weeks ago. That they're more interested in sort of incubating new brands. So like the wedding thing is kind of a cute thing that they can do. But yeah, they really want to nurture brands for the first year or so, and then see those guys move on to a larger contract brewer or start their own or something like that. But yeah, it's just now the gates are open for even more
Anyone.
anyone. Yeah.
Especially because it's contract. So that means you don't even need to be licensed with the TTB. It's because contract brewing at that level is just a branding thing. And you have a brand and they make it for you. And you don't even need to be a licensed brewer. There you go. You love to do that.
That's my favorite part
What
of the
beer are you
show.
drinking right now?
I don't know, some junk.
Yeah, he doesn't.
No, I know what it is. It's a Second Shift Beer Temple collab. Actually, I love it. It's a West Coast IPA called Back in My Day with a grumpy dude on it.
Yeah.
I am that grumpy dude.
Yeah, that's the thing. The old man who's like, shouting at a cloud.
Shouting at the haze.
Yes. Well, thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thank
for
you.
coming on. And then my last guest is Nitch. What's up?
Hi.
Can
My
you-
name's Nitch.
Yes.
Hi, hello. I'm up. I'm over here sipping beer, and I also wanted to remind anyone that also this radio channel has a chat room, and I hang out in it because I'm a fan of the thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's tlk.io/WLPN, and it'll be plopped right into the chat, and maybe someday someone will watch it, but mostly it's just me hanging out in
Yeah.
it, talking to
For a
you
while,
guys.
we got like maybe a dozen people in there, but it's slowly atrophied.
Yeah, it happens. It's
But
fun,
I
though.
appreciate
It's
it.
cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, so that's me. I'm just a fangirl, basically, of all things beer, and I have been for over a decade or more. 12 years ago is when I started my blog online in Australia. My name is Nitch. My name is Nicole, but I go by Nitch either way. And my blog and my media that I entertain myself and the world with is Tasting Nitch, which I got from Reddy Mosher's book, Tasting Beer,
Okay.
forever ago.
So you were in Australia, and then you were in Europe, and now you're in Oregon? You go all over.
I've traveled pretty much all over the world, and that's where my passion is kind of developed. I've done consulting with restaurants and breweries all over the world, just helping them integrate what's trending, how to develop their brand. A lot of times with restaurants, just how to flesh out a beer menu, how to integrate conscious local beer. That's a big one for me. I'm really into fine dining as well, and I specialize as well in cigars, coffee, and marijuana now that I'm back in the States. Yuck, yuck, yuck.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Portland, Oregon.
All right.
But France is where I started my
Anything you want to
YouTube channel.
indulge in, kind of.
Yes, all of my thing is live deliciously, which is a good way of thinking every day.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Got
Can
it.
I ask Nitch a question real quick?
No.
No.
Oh.
Yes,
fine.
Oh, okay. Phew. So there's a general fear I feel like in the beer industry.
like a comic book bad
craft
guy.
Beer. What do you want? in
General
this,
fear.
Chris. Do you
While
want some
you're
of your
talking, refill
West
the
Coast
glasses.
IPA?
Yeah, sure.
I'm filling Chris's glass while asking the question. There's a general concern that as cannabis is legalized, which it will be here in Illinois on January 1st, that it's
Yes,
going to eat
congratulations.
into the beer industry and especially the craft beer industry. And as someone who has a lot of knowledge about both those things, I'm curious your take on that.
Take a look at Portland, Oregon. I mean, we have.
You guys still drink a lot of beer, right?
There's some more beer than ever. There are breweries open up all over the place, and I think it comes down to any of the other things that we see as threats, just like wine and cocktails, all of that kind of stuff. It's just that the bad things are not going to do well. That's what ends up happening. If you're good, if you do good things, and you have, I think the big part is going to be you have to be invested in your community. People need to stop trying to grow really big, really fast. and nurture that kind of a community base. I think breweries will always be a base of community.
So if you have a good brand and you make good beer and you have a good location and you're well capitalized, then you'll be just okay with
I mean,
marijuana.
You've got a
have
lot
to
of
be
money,
fine.
but you want to be tiny. Go open a brewery.
Well, yeah, it's not about money. No one opens up a brewery thinking, "Ooh, I'm going to make all the millions." Not
But
anymore,
you need to be
anyway.
capitalized.
But you need to be able to have the business or
Right.
the money to run the
sure.
business.
Yeah.
But no, that's good to hear. That's what always
Yeah.
been my instinct
Don't
as
be
well.
afraid.
And it's like, I think anyone who's ever been who has indulged in cannabis before knows that beer tastes really, really good when you're a little stoned or a lot stoned or whatever. The two, to me, seem to work together
they
pretty
match.
darn well.
If anything else, it's just going to make people kind of chill out and not drink as much, which
That's okay.
I think that generally the youthful people these days, they're moving towards health and fitness and lower alcohol, and this is why we're getting the rise of the hard seltzers, because it's being marketed as something that's healthy for you, just like vaping, which we've seen what happened to that flavor bomb literally being talked about in the news right now because it's killing people. Seltzer, I hope you don't get that far. Bless you.
Seltzer, better than vaping.
There you go.
That's the new industry slogan.
Yeah. Better than vaping.
Just by a little.
It has some more flavors though too.
It has the same amount of flavors, I think.
So let's go. Any beers you guys had lately that you've been digging, and then we'll just kind of tear into it. We've got a ton of topics. We're not going to get to them all, but we might as well try to get through a few. Anything, Josh, you've been
I'm
drinking
just
lately?
glad I'm enjoying this West Coast IPA. I have reached absolute breaking point with the haze. I am just done. I am done with it.
Why is that?
They just taste bad to me. They just taste cloying and messy. And there are some I still appreciate objectively. I can say, oh, that is well done for hazy IPA, but I have really no desire to drink them much anymore. And the breweries that do them well, Noon Whistle, I think, is fantastic at it. Hop Butcher for the World has built a whole career on it. I mean, I give them, Phase 3 has fans all over the place, and I give them all a ton of credit, and I have a ton of admiration and respect for them. I'm just sort of ready for the next thing, which is, not hard seltzer.
Yeah.
So you don't believe that the hazy IPAs are going to be the next commercial light lager around the world?
No.
Oh.
I think
Why?
that they have brought a shift about in how IPAs are thought of more broadly, and we're seeing I would call more balanced hazy IPAs sort of coming out. Like the new one from Revolution is, I would say, actually pretty sort of walks.
Northeast Hero, that one?
No, it's called Hazy Hero. Is that it?
Oh,
Like
they
those.
did. They did the Hazy Hero.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a sustainable style.
Oh, there
It
is.
cannot
Hazy
be
Hero.
the next light beer of the world. It has a 30-day shelf life. It is, tastes wildly different after 30 days.
You say the same thing about lager. I mean, not the pasteurized lager that you're actually seeing at all these other
yeah, but not
countries,
light
but
lager, not
initially-
Miller Lite. Miller Lite's good for, I think they give it 6
Because
months.
it's been engineered that way. Let Miller Lite get a hold of hazy and just eat it.
I mean, and it's wildly expensive to produce.
This
so
is the main one, I
macro
think.
breweries
Why
are
not?
not going to go, oh, let's throw all of these hops into a beer that we can barely get them to make a proper West Coast IPA. Imagine you told them, oh, well, by the way, we're going to put, how many pounds per barrel into
Double dry hop.
But they
double
can
dry hop.
cheat
It's not going to
and they'll
happen.
find a way around it. Science.
It's not sustainable. It's not. Their profit margins aren't there. Let's talk about Hop Butcher for the World, right? They're making their mark in hazy IPA. Do any of those guys have any of those guys quit their day job?
I don't think so.
I think one of them did, but
Really?
but that's sort of beside the point, I think.
Is it?
Well, they're also contracting, or alt-propping.
Well, I think the real
there could be other reasons.
the
is what
real
I'm saying.
There could be
counter
other
argument
reasons,
is
but,
that Revolution Brewing just introduced a year-round hazy IPA. So I mean, people
Sierra
are
Nevada
still
already did
investing
that,
in it.
And Sierra
and
Nevada,
And Firestone Walker. I mean, so
Right.
people are still investing in creating them. I'm just saying I'm looking forward to the sort of shift away. And
but
these
no one's
becoming-
waiting in line for Revolution's hazy IPA.
Right. They just need to have them on shelves.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my question is
And
more
God
like you're
forbid they have
sitting
to put
in.
the calorie content on those things.
Right, we don't want to know. And that one I gave you earlier, don't
I'd
even
like to
guess
know.
how much sugar is in that on whatever unbalanced breakfast.
Right.
Bleh.
I mean,
But
none of that's sustainable, and none of that will allow it to become a mainstream product.
Absolutely. That's
Dump
what I
button.
thought.
Dump button.
What?
You said a bad word.
Oh, I can't use words. Sorry.
You can use words.
Sorry,
Almost every word you can
Not
use.
adult words. Got
You
it.
can use a lot of adult words. Anyway, go on.
Not that one? Okay. I didn't know.
We're on the radio.
We can't
Right.
use the George Carlin words.
Yes.
Got it. Right.
Anyway, you were saying?
Oh, I think that's going to be, you're going to have that moment somewhere a decade from now you'll be in Southeast Asia on a beach and you'll order a beer, and instead of having a light lager presented to you, it's going to be something that's bitter, but like astringent, false kind of like Malort kind of bitter, and it's going to have some kind of an anonymous fruit flavor in there, and it's going to be carbonated and kind of
It'll
refreshing.
be Goose Island IPA.
Maybe, exactly, because that's already there.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, that's already
not
there.
good. I feel like
and you
that's
get
already,
it,
guys.
and it's 2
Sorry,
years
guys.
old, and it's served
Right.
to you warm.
I mean,
you're
so
like,
and that
wow.
example, it'll be a Heineken or an Anheuser-Busch product.
Right.
know,
And I think that that style potentially down the road might change into something like a grapefruit IPA or, God forbid, a hazy.
I mean, the style is here to stay. Don't get me wrong. But is it taking over the world? No way. No way.
I think I sort of get the feeling as much, even though Revolution, for instance, again, just put one out there, Firestone has invested, other examples. It does seem to be, and I'd be curious what everyone else thinks, it does seem to be regressing in sort of the public consciousness.
it was my prediction for 2019 is by like Q4 of this year, you're going to start to see some open pushback, and you're going to start to see people asking for other types of IPAs.
It's going to be like
again.
the double IPA and of yesteryear, you know.
Maybe, but hazy, I wish I had my IRA data here, but I believe, last I looked, Hazy Little Thing's still growing and
Doing
kicking
really
butt.
well.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the main reasons for Sierra Nevada's growth has been
Oh, yeah.
No
Hazy Little
doubt,
Thing.
but
yeah.
when it starts to go down, they'll just chase the next fad. I mean, it's a fad.
This is true.
It'll
I
be
don't know.
interesting to have this conversation in a year, because it feels like we could be at a little bit of a tipping point, but maybe we're not.
Yeah.
That just seems. I don't know, Mike. You're super like plugged in and looking at stuff like that. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's regressing for sure. I actually wrote a piece in January saying I'm off hazy IPAs for the whole year.
Oh, nice.
Only doing it for porch drinking coverage, which is like a handful of times. It's been great getting to get back into the other styles of beer and really focus on them. And yeah, I mean, to your point, I had one the other day, and I had this one. And this one, I actually like Hazy Hero from Revolution. I thought it was really good. But I had some other ones, and it's too much. It's too heavy. It's too fruity. I just want beer. You know, I want a good lager. I want a good Pilsner. I want a good Kolsch. Give me something like that, a good kettle sour. And I think that's where people are starting to realize, hey, just give me something light and easy to drink, because those big hazy beers, you can't have more than one or two in a sitting. And I see these people coming back from trips to the East Coast, and they come back with 80 cans. Now, of course, they're going to be selling some of those and trading some, but those beers are going to be bad in a month. And so they're sitting in your fridge, and you have to either drink them, get rid of them, or you're just going to waste money.
But that's what I trade in a lot too. I travel all over doing bottle trades, bottle shares, all over the world, and I love it. I love being able to bring some of this weird stuff over there to show people that beer has the potential to be a very strange and unusual product. At the same time, I try to bring things with me as well that are good solid beers as well to share with people, because when you're at home, I don't really sit at Great Notion that often and drink their beer because it's wacky, and you can't drink more than you get little baby 5-ounce pours because you don't want more than that. But as a share thing, as a novelty, is understanding that it has this breadth of ability
As a
as well.
novelty, exactly.
But how long will that live?
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, and I've said this a million times, we have to drink this stuff, right? And if you're me,
Well, we don't have to.
well, if you're me, you do, and if
sure.
you're me, you have to drink a ton of it, just to get through the day,
Just to get through
Just
to get through the hour.
just to find a little happiness in this life. And if I'm gonna have 10 beers, you're darn tootin'. We can say that, right?
I think so.
Don't
Let me
buy
check.
It is not going to be any of these adjunct things or these pastry stouts or hazy IPA. They're not that drinkable. They're
Pat,
not
have you
session.
considered hard seltzer?
There's the drinkable, and that is taking over the world. So
For now.
yeah,
I'll have a Tito's and soda any day. That's my hard seltzer.
Right.
Right,
Tito's
and yeah,
isn't
that's
the best.
that's probably
Yeah,
better
but,
than most
you know.
of the ones on shelves too. Squeeze some lime in it, done.
done.
Yeah.
Who else wants to talk about a beer that they've had lately that they've enjoyed?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
So last Saturday I was at Kvike Fest. Kvike, right?
Like,
Rhymes with bike. Kvike Fest
Yes.
at District Brewery Yards, and went to Around the Bend. Had their barley wine called Proximal. 13%. It was a hot day. I went back for 3 pours of it. Wow. I thought it was.
And who made it?
Around the Bend.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, just a really, really well done. Spent 9 months in rye barrels. A little bit of heat from the rye, but just really nice notes of vanilla, molasses, toffee. Again, 13%. I went back and back.
And this is also, was this a fest that was all,
Oh, Kvike.
Alkavite, yeah. Most.
but it was, that's all the, am I wrong? Is that the Omega yeast one?
It
so,
is,
so this was like an Omega yeast essentially fest.
Yes.
Because this is one of the this is one of the yeasts that they are
be
pushing
other
hard.
yeast purveyors who sell Kvike.
Not in the U.S.
Yeah,
Really?
they're
They're
the
it.
only ones. They have 3 strands of it.
Yeah.
3 different Kvike.
And they're invested big time in it because you can ferment very rapidly
Right.
with it.
oh, it's an amazing yeast strain. Yeah, it's really amazing. You can
So-
do so many cool things with it as a home brewer. I highly recommend starting with it, playing with it. It makes things a lot easier. It's the traditional style that they're brewing with in Scandinavia. Even the normal sati stuff that you'll see out of Finland, which is a little bit more popular. Maybe you see those styles. They're using the Norwegian yeast with that. That's one of the only legacy yeasts we have left.
Yeah, I'll say the hazy IPAs used with Kvike, I didn't think were very good. I thought it was the Kolsch's, lagers, some of the saisons with it. I thought were really good. Tried a few of the IPAs with it. Didn't really do it for me. Really, really overly dank flavors. When you had
It's
that.
interesting. We had someone on from I think it's CBGB Brewing in Brooklyn, and I heard that yeast, the Kvike, one of the Kvike yeasts from Omega, is their house strain now. So like that is their house yeast, which is interesting.
What are the flavor characteristics of it?
I think it's supposed to be very low ester, no matter what. You can ferment it incredibly high, and it won't really put out
And low.
esters.
It just has it'll even go low. That's the thing, and it comes off fairly clean. It's really surprising. You
But-
don't even get saison esters with it.
But there are some people who I've heard don't like there are some. I don't think it's not like a Pac-Man yeast or like a pale ale yeast, a Sierra Nevada yeast. I don't think it's that low in esters necessarily, but it's pretty low. At least these are some brewers that I've talked to who've said there's some kind of flavor profile that they're not in love with all styles.
And it depends
But-
again, heat and what they're eating. You know, they're an animal. Yeast is a weird, amazing creature.
Anyone else? Nitch, anything you've had?
Yeah, hi. Oh, so I'm visiting Chicago. So I've been to, I think that so far Dovetail has been my favorite.
You want to say what your least favorite is?
Yeah, Cruz Blanca.
Oh.
I know. I'm sorry. Everyone just looked at me weird. You want to know why? Because everything's really good. So far, everything I've had. Oh, no. I went to like Beguile as well. I stopped in for a second. That was like, meh. None of it's been horrible. Just Cruz Blanca had an atmosphere that I would never go to again. It was like.
What'd you think of the beer, though?
I thought it was solid. I thought it was all solid beer, you know. If you gave it to me, it's under, guidelines for each of the styles. It wasn't, crazy difficult on the palate. There were a couple strange notes that came from some of their beers, flavor-wise, but I don't know what those were for, and I don't know, it just wasn't inspiring, nor was it really negative.
And what'd you like about Dovetail?
I think that Dovetail is what I would make if I were to make a brewery. It's just all lagers, and then you've got true to Sun Valley wild ales and some like 2 experimental things. I just thought the presentation was perfect, and it's exactly what I want to drink. I just want to put a cacophony of crisp, easy drinking things, and occasionally a Vienna or a seasonal lager, something along those lines.
Did you have their Creek?
I tried their Creek. Their Creek to me it's young. I drink a lot of beer from old world sours and things like that. It's, wild ales.
Yeah.
And I think that it just was missing a little bit of age. They're young. It's new. They're new at doing
Complexity,
this.
maybe,
The
yeah.
goose, on the other hand, was very well done. I was very sad that I couldn't take any of that with me because I think that would impress a lot of people I know who are blending right now in the industry because it was really well done.
Cool. Anyone else need to go? Otherwise, I think we got to take an ad break, right? We about ready to do that? Cool. Why don't we take like 60, 90 seconds, listen to some about some of the sponsors of Lumpen Radio, and then we'll come back after that with more of the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. Caught me shushing people. Welcome back to the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. I'd say we'll edit that out, but I know myself I won't edit that out. I am here with my guests, Nitch, Josh, Mike, and Pat. And we were just talking about what to talk about first. And what we're going to talk about first is your article, Josh.
A new year. Oh, yeah. Hi. Hello.
Yeah. It's also you're also all on mic, so even when you're doing that, we hear what you're saying. It's fine. Yeah, it's okay. You want to go? You were interested in talking about this article. You wrote an article. It's not.
Well, yeah, not the article, but the phenomenon
yes.
which hopefully is still at top of mind when people are hearing this on the podcast. But the I am craft beer thing took off over the last couple days in a big way, and which I think is interesting and says something and shows something that is positive.
Set up the story.
Here's the setup. I'll make it as quick as I can. A woman named Shalonda White, who lives here in Chicago in Rogers Park. She's married to a guy named Nick White, who's with Chicago Beer Geek. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that came up in the midst of our conversation. Her last name's White, and she said Chicago Beer Geeks, and I thought, is your husband Nick White?
Yeah,
sure enough.
Cozy.
So Nick's a wonderful guy. So that's her husband. And so this woman, Shalonda White, drank Miller Genuine Draft and Heineken and Corona, and when she was dating Nick 10 years ago, he was trying to woo her, and he wooed her with a bottle of Goose Island's Sophie, and she was converted in that very moment into a craft beer drinker. She never looked back. She started a blog called Afro Beer Chick, and that's her Twitter handle and her Insta and all that business. And she got on Monday a horrendously nasty email, racist, misogynist, just dreadful. 3 sentences, 35 words.
Out of the blue, right?
Out of the blue, yep. That's what she said. She just
Weird.
checked her email on a Monday afternoon, and there was this just really horrendous email sent almost assuredly by, under a pseudonym. It was like from Brad someone, and the email address was braddrinksbeer@gmail.com. So everyone descended on @braddrinksbeer on Twitter, which is a different Brad. And he said, hey, man, it's not me, I promise. Anyway, so she gets this anonymous, hateful, horrendous email, and she screenshots it, shares it on Twitter, and then the diversity ambassador at the Brewers Association, Jay, what's her last name? I should have remembered. Jay's awesome. That's all I can tell you. She's very
really
cool.
nice.
Yeah, look it up. Thank you, Mike. It's hyphenated. That's where I'm running into the...
Dr. J. Jackson Beckham.
There you go. Thank you. Apologies, Dr. J.
Thank you, Mike.
So Dr. J sends out a tweet and says, I'm infuriated. This is terrible, but let's sort of take control of the situation. Tell us about yourself. Take a selfie. And use the hashtag #IamCraftBeer to show that craft beer is this positive thing, not going to be dragged down by this hate and racism and misogyny and such. And it took off. And there have been thousands of I Am Craft Beer posts. And it's, I think pretty powerful, really, because people are telling the story of who they are. And, sometimes they, get into the personal and the political and the social, and it's made more powerful with these selfies, usually holding a beer, and it just really took off. And so I Am Craft Beer has become this sort of Twitter sensation for the week anyway. And it's been a powerful thing. It's been a uniting thing.
A positive thing.
A
positive
rare
news,
positive thing, coming out of craft beer on Twitter. Just a lot of really good energy and good vibes around it. But it's interesting to me the degree to which people gravitated toward it, and how much people seemed to just really want positivity.
Mm-hmm. I have you done it? Have you taken part?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I can't. I write about
beer.
The industry. I can't sort of do that.
Partake in the industry.
What? Why can't you do that?
Because it's my job to just sort of chronicle it rather than be part. I'm not in the industry. I am.
It's a good distinction to
watching
make, Josh.
The industry.
Josh is actually a journalist, not a blogger.
Right.
Not a vlogger. Not a what I don't know. What are the other words the kids use?
Influencer.
I'm definitely not an influencer.
He's actually a journalist.
Yeah. Old school.
Old school. Yeah, I like it.
Back in my day, Yeah.
But
I
it's-
have not either. Has anyone here taken part in that? Done it? Have you done
No,
it?
not yet, but I will. That sounds great.
Yeah, I rarely get into those, but I actually did this one.
Did
you know,
you?
knowing Shalonda and talking with her in the past, and kind of that call is like, you know what, it's right. It's right to do. I'm on the side of Josh where I try to stay out of the story, but I thought this was one where you can get in there and you can just tell a little bit about who you are. And mine was very simple. I cover craft beer in Chicago. I love telling the story of everyone who's a part of it, and that was it. But
Have you seen any interesting ones or things that kind of raise your eyebrows for people who participated in it? I have to admit, I am very, very rarely on Twitter recently, so I have not really.
You're not missing much,
Partaken.
except for this. This is why do you think it took off, Mike? I mean, it just really
Because people
sort
got
of.
to take a selfie with it.
Well, that's part of it, right?
Right?
I think seeing the email, and while a lot of people don't know Shalonda, right? She's been such a part of the craft beer community for at least the last, I think her Twitter really blew up the last 6 months, a year. And you just see it and you feel so bad. And it's like, this should not ever happen anywhere, anytime. And people it drove to them. And to Dr. J's credit, she retweeted, I think, every single one. And she has a good following. And so I think that got the ball going.
Got it.
And then everyone starts seeing it's like, I'm going to get into it too. But she was still retweeting today.
Cool.
There's probably a little. I mean, it's if this had happened in the era of an Obama presidency, I think it maybe would feel different than the era of a Trump presidency.
Do you think there's some political elements to it?
Yeah. I think people are
That's a really good point.
very much on edge right now. Obviously, it's a strange time. It's a harrowing time for a lot of people, and this probably is, I'm guessing, a degree of release for a lot of people.
Have you been following the hashtags at all? As you've been chronicling this and writing? about it?
I actually made on TweetDeck a column
Stream.
What do you say? Is that what it is? Yeah, a
kids
stream
call it.
of the hashtag. So I can sort of track every new hashtag, and I just sort of flip through there. I did it when I was writing the story, just to sort of try to wrap my brain around what was happening, and they just keep on coming and keep on
Have you
coming.
noticed any commonalities or differences or things that have stood out to you or
The
surprised
awesome thing
you?
is the differences.
Yeah.
It is black, white, brown, Christian,
Purple,
Hindu, Muslim, Jewish.
It's
I
worldwide
mean, it's
too, which I think is cool.
It's what?
It's worldwide.
And
You'll
it is
see people
world-
in
it is gone
Australia, you'll see
worldwide,
some
yeah.
in Europe, and everyone's doing it.
And actually, I didn't put this in the article, but I guess someone was grousing that there were white guys posting "I am craft beer" and how dare they? But Dr. J, who again is a wonderful, thoughtful person, said, "But you know what? Look at the diversity within white guys. Like not all white guys are the same, and that's part of what sort of came out of this. So it's just the sort of the cross section of everyone, and the fact that it all sort of comes back to feeling a part of craft beer, air quotes there, whatever that thing is. I don't know. It sort of gave a nice little positive boost to the conversation this week, and again, out of something just horrifically mind-bendingly vile, yeah.
Yeah, just absurd in a way.
You don't run into that in real life, though. You
Right.
don't run in walk into I've taught classes to camera members, real camera members, and I walk in and I'm a petite female and I dress kind of weird, and you can see them for a minute just a little confused. But then because I have information and they want that, and we're passionate and happy, all exchanging information and tasting things, then people chill out and they're really nice. I can't imagine someone just going home and being like, I'm having a bad day. I'm going to write this lady a letter.
Yeah, right?
It blows my mind.
Oh, it's funny.
The internet,
Yeah.
It's true. It does funny things.
terrible place.
Yeah. And the don't get me wrong. On the internet too, as a female in the industry, we've had to deal with this in the sidelines behind stuff, kind of you get that leering deal, but it's coming to a point where people are talking about it a little bit more. What worries me is when the social justice warriors get in there and it becomes something where you are pushing out people like, why can't white guys be part of it? That's weird.
Well, you're
right.
sitting with a bunch of white guys, so I think we're just going to...
I know, but it's always been, for me
Thank
too.
you for saying that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
hey,
right?
white guys are part of beer too.
We are. We really are.
We really, really are.
Yeah, we really, really, really are.
Fat
there's
white guys
always-
with beards. I'm
Yeah.
afraid there's a lot of us.
But, well, I won't say less and less so, but the diversity is ticking up. To pretend like it's, and I'm not saying you guys are doing this, but to pretend like it is still this white male industry, it's just not
Oh,
anymore.
I mean-
That's still the majority probably, but it is increasingly diverse,
still
and
very
that's
white,
a great
but-
thing, and it
Very
needs to
white,
just
but
continue
it's
to
changing.
The inclusion
to
of
diversify.
women has been just
Huge.
fantastic and huge. I mean,
Yeah, hi.
as someone who's been going to these beer festivals for 25, 26 years, there was 0 women there, 0, and maybe one, one or two, waiting for their boyfriends or whatever. And when they started showing up, it was so great, and it has continued tenfold. And but we do need to work on, on some brown and black people in there, because there are not many. There are
Well,
not
I was
many.
going to say at my space, I've noticed just in the past probably 2 years a large uptick in the Latino community. And they're partaking in craft beer.
Yeah,
personally,
good.
yeah,
That's your local crowd, basically, right?
Yeah,
And
but that's
as it should be.
But they
I mean,
weren't
that's right.
coming in 4 years ago, very infrequently. But now I see them every single day.
But
which
you
is
have
cool.
aggregators. You have like Beer Thug. Have you seen his videos? He's really great.
Yeah.
That's cool. You have Culture writing his book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys, and that's how it starts, and hopefully it keeps rolling. And I hate to say it, but it's like Josh said, this presidency is allowing racists to rear their ugly heads, and
I feel like they have a safe space. Honestly,
they feel like
yeah.
like they can talk their lazy thought process that they go through, and
Hopefully those people are
it's-
beer geeks and they get to go to a beer event and they get to sit next to a black woman and they get to talk with her and understand that she is a human being. And when they become friends and that person it's like an enlightenment moment. You can see people be like, oh, you're gay, weird. Oh, okay. Oh, you're a normal person. And then their feelings change. I think a lot of people that act like this, they're just people who are, they don't have friends. They don't have friends of diversity to speak with.
Outside their bubble, maybe.
Yeah, so in that way, the internet could be good.
And it also, it
But you did
boosts-
say getting them in front of each other, next to each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes the
That doesn't
internet
involve the
works, though, a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
do your thing, beer.
Or-
And it also,
yeah.
I was going to say, it inspires the counter narrative, and strongly, which is this "I am craft beer" hashtag. So
Yeah,
it's
it was-
Inspiring
some-
the counter-narrative.
It happened to be
so.
something.
I'm not
that
on
everyone
Twitter.
could-
Well, I am, but I'm not. I don't tweet.
don't.
But I did see your article when Chris sent the things out, and it was very nice to just to see what the positivity that came out of this. No question.
So before we, so you wanted to talk about seltzer for a long time, huh?
I think that should be the entire second half. In fact, I think that
For
should
real?
have been the whole show, but it's too late for
It's
that
not
now.
beer. Why do we even talk about it?
It's funny. Like last,
It's cataloged
It's
as
so
it is
funny.
cataloged as beer.
Oh,
It's so
And
funny.
it's kicking
that-
beer's butt.
Yeah, it is. We can talk about it for. Why don't we?
We should set a timer so we don't ramble.
Well, that's what I was
on.
going to say. Why don't we talk about it for a little bit now? Because we're going to go on a break, and then if we want to come back and talk more, we always can. But it'll be limited. So, but it is so funny, Josh, or just generally, seltzer. Talking about seltzer on this show, at least, is so divisive. I mean, even like you saw here, people are like, well, you were like, yeah, let's talk about it. Last week, Mike Strong was on, and he didn't want to talk about it. He's like, can we please just not talk about seltzer at all? I was like, okay, that's fine. We don't have to. But I do think it's interesting. So yeah, I mean, I just had some seltzer updates. The one that I wanted to talk about was really just I think it's a statewide thing going on here in Illinois. It might be going on elsewhere as well with White Claw. And it's less about this particular sale as, to me, craft seltzers, people who want to kind of jump in the game and kind of follow this. So there's and we've talked about this on the show a little bit, but there's a $13.99 12-pack of White Claw, and then you get a mail-in rebate, which people on the show have talked about, who's going to use a mail-in rebate. But then it brings the price down to $1.99 for a 12-pack of White Claw.
Yeah, but what flavor?
The mix pack. All the flavors.
I don't want all the
except
flavors.
Except for mango.
I only like grapefruit.
I like the grapefruit too.
That's what everyone says, dude.
No one likes the grapefruit. I feel like I'm alone on the grapefruit island.
Grapefruit, lemon.
But I will say that White Claw, that rebate thing, like they have no reason to discount like that at this point.
But no one will
that
even
thing
send
was
them the rebate,
was an
right?
oddity, and I don't think that's very indicative of what's going on.
They can do it though.
They can, but
They can just-
the brand AB also is doing the exact same thing with Bon and Viv next to them for the exact same rebate. So I didn't quite. I issued a plea on Twitter for someone to explain it to me. One distributor DM'd me and said that his guess was that promotion had been agreed to probably at the beginning of the summer for Labor Day, and that they never would have done it otherwise.
Right, but my point is also that less that they needed to, more that they can. That's an arrow in their quiver that if you're going to compete with White Claw, be prepared for someone who can fight back with that. And that's kind of like a... But
honestly,
it's going to get real.
Is craft beer competing with White Claw?
No, what I'm saying is...
Miller Lite is. Bud Light is.
My brother's in the beer industry, and he drinks Trulies and White Claws.
Yeah, but what did he drink before that?
Yeah, was he drinking like hams and
Was he
PBR?
drinking hams and PBR?
He was drinking what he got when he was working at the brewery.
Okay.
Because, in my opinion, I just don't think that the audience craft beer is going after, or I guess that audience is everyone now because craft beer wants to be the biggest thing on the planet. Personally, I don't care if it is. I don't care if it's small because I remember when it was almost non-existent and we had a good time. And now it's gotten big and it's not really that fun anymore. So,
yeah,
my example is like last weekend I went to a college rugby game and at my alma mater, the mighty Loyola of Chicago. And all the boys were drinking White Claw. But,
Right.
before that,
what
all
would
the
they have
boys
been
were
drinking
drinking
5 years ago?
Schlitz or Miller Lite or whatever was cheapest. There might have been a window where I went to a game and they were drinking like craft beer, and it was like, oh my god, this craft beer thing's gotten way out of hand. Even the rugby boys are drinking it. But honestly, who cares? Like this is not. I just, in my opinion, it's what mainstream drinkers are drinking, and if craft beer wants to be mainstream, then maybe I don't want anything to do with it.
Ooh, so cool. That's so cool.
So you're going to open a meat bar,
right? That's true.
Can't
It's mounted.
We all felt it. We felt it.
Honestly,
yeah. No, I guess we could. That's a side conversation that's very much related to what I was saying. Like, is it cutting into craft beer sales? We can talk about that.
How's your business doing, Chris? I mean, bottom line, how's the bar?
Do you
how's
sell
the bottle shop?
seltzers? Hard
We
seltzers?
have the variety packs in the store. We
You
brought them
do?
in after the tasting you were in.
Oh, you gave in.
We did it as a trial. We're like, let's
And
see
they're
what
just
happens.
flying off the shelves.
And they're not flying off the shelves, but they're moving as also buys. So we have it right next to PBR. So we have PBR is our case, like whatever you want to call it, beer. We don't have really any others other than that. And right next to that is White Claw. So now we've basically doubled that type of alcoholic product in the store. The like, grab it, light, cheap. I'm going to buy a 6-pack and then also grab a case of PBR. I have not looked if our PBR sales are down. I don't think they really are, though. But we're moving like White Claw just fine. I mean, it's
But people are still
doing well.
coming
It's probably
in and
doing.
buying.
It's probably our best 12-pack. It's our best 12-pack.
Do you have craft beer 12 packs?
Yeah, or 15 packs,
Yeah.
or you know what I'm talking
So
about.
it's doing better than all day IPA 15 packs, for instance.
Yeah, but All Day has never done that great for us. I know other
Yeah,
boutique
that's probably
shops.
that's probably more of a supermarket beer,
I was gonna say,
I
yeah.
guess, or a
If you go to
convenience
the
store.
beer temple, you're probably looking for like a 4-pack,
Yeah.
a single.
We don't do a lot of 12-pack business, honestly.
So you haven't seen any kind of dramatic dip in the good beer, let's say. I mean, like you're still selling the 4-packs and the 6-packs and
Yes.
all that stuff's
Yes.
still moving.
You're not going to be like,
Yes.
ooh, I want the latest hot butcher release, but there's White Claw over there. That's not going to happen.
Right. No, I don't think it's really biting into that. Now, cider.
Yeah,
Cider,
they're
maybe.
probably taking it in the
Cider's not
teeth, right?
doing so great.
Cider's not doing well here?
Not in my
Cider
store.
never really kind of took
Yeah.
off here, did
Oh,
it?
you guys wait for that. That'll happen.
it?
Yeah, cider's a whole jam.
I mean, we have 2 ciders on tap. That was unheard of 4 years ago.
See,
Now you're doing the
don't-
mic lift. You're holding up the mic.
I know,
Could
because
you
it's drooping.
maybe?
Sorry.
Yeah,
Undroop it. It's moving around.
Hold
We're
it from the
sharing
bottom.
We're
Just
sharing
cradle
the
it with your hands.
see, I feel like
There you go.
2 cider drafts was a thing 4 or 5 years ago, and that's when the Northman opened the cider bar.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't gone anywhere beyond that.
It was supposed
just
to
sorta-
explode, and
It was
it
supposed to be
hasn't.
the next thing,
Is
and it
this-
just sort of got stuck as like a little niche product.
Yeah.
Niche. It's pronounced niche.
Oh. And here in Chicago, we say
I'm fine.
niche.
I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. I'm used to it. But really, no ciders. Portland, it's in the Pacific Northwest. It's becoming more and more.
Oh, you guys are
have
so much more
breweries.
enlightened than us. Let's just
Well, hey,
let's just call it what it is.
California does something, the whole world shifts in that direction. So that's where I got this theory about
Kombucha, man.
grapefruit IPAs.
Yeah, how's
kombucha is an option?
It's kombucha.
Is
That's
it?
how we
Oh.
say it here in
Let
Chicago.
me
No, I'm
pronounce
just
it
kidding.
kombucha.
It's kombucha.
Is that doing anything in Portland?
Yeah, I think
Oh, it's
Pat said
stagnant.
it the
It's the
right
same.
way. Pat,
The thing that
that's
people
how
are
you say
doing is they'll take
Kombucha.
that
I can't even say it.
and they'll do CBD
Terrible
in it.
accent.
We're actually having 2 conversations on the radio right
I
now.
know.
Oh, that
was
must sound
horrible.
great.
All right, so they're doing CBD kombucha. That
Do you
sounds.
guys do you have CBD pumps here? Do you guys have that?
No.
Okay, so pretty much everywhere you go in Portland, you can get a cocktail, a glass of wine, beer, like those generic places that have all 3 things. You can also usually get a cider, probably some kind of a kombucha, and with any of those things, if you want, for an added $2, you
shot.
can add a little pump squeeze of CBD. Ointment,
sounds like a
kind of a thing, and it doesn't have flavor.
total scam.
It's actually effective. You can feel it feels like you've had 2 beers instead of 1. You feel a little bit more lethargic.
Do you know how many milligrams in a
I can't give you
squeeze?
all the dosage. No, but it's Dano
probably
Dano.
like
Pump,
10
not
or
a
something.
squeeze.
It's a weird thing. It's quite cheap, and again, it doesn't affect you more than you would do with like normal beer.
It's starting here. Like you're getting it in
Yeah,
coffee
there's-
shops.
I don't
and
do it.
stuff.
That's the weirdest. Uppers and downers. What kind of a mix-up are you?
There's places that have
Go on,
CBD
go
cocktails here, but they're just
Yeah.
not popular.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
in Portland,
yet,
it's
anyway.
just an option everywhere. That's
And
one
there's
of those weird
CBD
ones.
seltzers.
We're very
and
leery
stuff.
of any sort of
CBD seltzer is
holistic
gonna be-
medicine here.
Yeah.
is going to be a thing in
CBD
2020.
seltzer?
Yes, it's just like
Oh, yeah.
it's just like
It's everywhere.
beverage industry Mad Libs, but yes, CBD seltzer. That's going to be a thing.
Well, Lagunitas
Oh,
does
yeah.
that, right?
Yep.
They do.
Yep.
They do CBD. Yeah.
No, they have a soda, but then they also have Lagunitas has a what is it called? It's
They
called
have a
something.
THC one though.
No,
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do
they
have
do.
a THC
Do they?
one.
Yeah. Yeah.
you can do that legally now.
In
They're
California.
doing it in
Maybe that's the
California.
one I was thinking of.
Yeah. So also with moving on to other areas of seltzer. So
Great.
The-
so some of like how
The
big
Seltzer
this thing
Temple
is.
Insider
So wait, Pat,
Roundtable.
you told me that you heard that it's outselling Bud Heavy.
Nationwide, I read that.
no,
yeah.
that's that. I checked. That's not.
Oh, that's not
accurate,
true?
no.
No?
Fact
And I even
Was that on?
I heard that second.
on
Well, I heard
something?
that from Chris.
And I said I heard it from Pat.
Right. So I looked at the data today, and it's not true year to date, and it's not true even for the last
Ever.
4 weeks. I would have conceivably seen it, but it's not even for the last 4 weeks.
But you're
Okay.
saying it's the #1 SKU in Chicago?
And that
I
is
heard
also
it-
that's not true.
I heard
either.
it.
checked
No,
on that.
hold on. I heard that over the 4th of July weekend. It was, and then I heard that it's past Miller Lite. I didn't say the #1 SKU in Chicago. I said it
Well,
passed.
Miller Lite was the #1.
Yeah, no, it is. I did check with someone on that today who
Yeah.
would know.
Yeah.
I can't say anything more about who,
Yeah.
but that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
definitely not true.
Would you know where it is then?
It is up there. It is a rocket ship, and it is high. It is. It's probably Miller Lite, Modelo. It might be third.
Okay.
That's conceivable.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly, but it is still way behind Miller Lite
Okay.
And you said Modelo is beating Miller
I
Lite.
heard Modelo was #1.
in terms of sales, but not in terms of volume.
Okay. So then there you go. I mean, we're also talking dollars versus volume or something like that. So
Yes.
yeah, because I heard Modelo was #1, and I've seen IRI charts with Modelo #1.
In sales, yeah.
In
that
sales,
just
yeah.
happened in the last couple months,
Right. Right.
which is definitely a. I mean, and we got to qualify. Miller Lite still sells way more volume than Modelo, but that's still a passing of the torch. Sales,
Yeah.
sales count.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, money's
Money-
good. Yeah.
money counts.
We like money. Yeah, and Modelo has. I mean, light beer is just still
Not
taking
cool.
it on the chin year
Yeah.
after year after year after year, and except for Michelob Ultra. So there's the big exception, and that's why everyone's trotting out 99 calorie IPA. You know,
Now, Mick Ultra has passed Miller Lite nationally year to date, correct? I mean, that was like a big deal. That was I
what is
also
it?
saw
it's,
that. In IRI.
It's Bud Light, Coors Light, and then I think Mick Ultra is
Mick
third.
Ultra, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Miller Lite fourth, and probably Bud fifth, Modelo sixth, something
Something like
like that.
that,
But
yeah.
Modelo's going to pass Bud if it hasn't already.
Yeah, which is crazy because people, like White Claw and Modelo, their advertising footprint is so much smaller than everyone above it. Like you don't see.
Though Modelo's
ads.
starting to advertise now.
They are, but it's still nowhere near
Yeah.
Bud Light, and Miller Lite.
They have
and
a lot of
Coors
room
Light.
for growth is the crazy thing about Modelo.
Yeah.
Is White Claw even doing like commercials or
Any.
anything like that?
I don't know.
They don't
Just-
need
it's all
to.
right. They don't.
It's word of mouth
word
and
of
it's
mouth
social
and
media.
social
They're
media.
using influencers.
And everyone knows ain't
Dun,
no
dun,
laws
dun.
when you're drinking claws. You know, it's
I said like I haven't seen any heard of a radio ad, a TV ad, nothing.
Well, the price I think is a big point anyway, and also a lot of people like those flavored sodas, so they can look at it and be like, it's grapefruit and it has alcohol in it. Great, I know everything that I'm getting, and it's
Right.
cheaper than the stuff I would normally get, and already not like the flavor of. So,
But I don't think they're not using like consciously using influencers, are they? Influencers have grabbed it, right? Do they have a campaign? of
isn't
sending
that the
stuff-
internet conundrum?
Right?
Who's holding who here?
You want to be a seltzer influencer?
Right?
Oh.
But no, there are people
those are
who
that's
like
out there.
like you get if you do this, you're going to get sent new shoes. You're going to get sent this. You're going to get sent that by shoe companies. We'll use an example who want to use that as a marketing tool.
Right.
Is White Claw doing that? I don't know. I know they've been a
Yes.
social media darling, but I don't know. So White Claw is sending stuff out to.
Of course.
You know that, or you assume?
Oh wait, to the
You can just send out. They'll send out free things.
yeah. No, I interviewed
free
their
one
VP of
first,
marketing,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
he said that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, free is first, and that's the thing. That's the reason why, like, you've been on YouTube as well, Chris. You know that there's not a whole bunch of money there, but what I would constantly get would be people trying to send me beer from their brewery, which is great, doesn't pay my rent, but I can maintain this thing that I create for other people and influencing them and aggregating it.
Are you on the Insta? You must be on the
Yeah,
Insta.
Tasting Nitch, Instagram. That's where I've migrated now.
I'm gonna follow you right now.
Do it. I do a live streaming every day at noon, and I taste something because to me that's the most important thing here. The reason why I think hard seltzers are stupid and they should go away is because they don't have good flavor.
Yeah.
And as a taste geek, I may be a beer geek, but I like the taste of things, and hard seltzer is
So
unpalatable.
let me go back. You talked to the
Can I
VP
just follow
of
up on that
marketing.
real quick? So that's the one. Sorry, I know you want to. All right, go ahead. What
You
were
talked to the VP. I have a guy who talked to the VP of marketing for White Claw. I'd like to
Yeah,
get
when
some
did you do
information
that?
about that.
I'm happy to share it with you, but I want to just follow up on what Nitch said, which is I think I don't have any great answers about where hard seltzer's going because who knows? My crystal ball is broken like everyone else's. However, one thing that no one really talks all that much about is that a lot of these hard seltzers are terrible.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
taste bad. I mean,
Yes.
you tasted
Yeah,
40
many
or
of
50
them.
of them.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have just muddy, cloying,
Gross
confused
flavors, yeah.
Or if you just want to say it, gross flavors.
But that's it. So you want to drink something because you want to chill out and hang out with your friends. So you can have a CBD soda that has none of the calories, none of the alcohol, in fact, dun, 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 and you can chill. So that's going to be a viable option in the future. I think that hard seltzers are going to get pushed out by other options as well.
Yeah.
Non-alcoholic, NA option.
It feels to me like it's peaking right now.
Once we get into the
But
winter
we'll see.
months, I wonder what will happen to White Claw and all of the seltzers, right? Once it's no longer warm.
Winter
and all that.
die
That's
off
a
of
great.
hard
So what I can
seltzers.
tell you about that, because I did a deep dive into hard seltzer earlier this summer in the Trib, is that hard seltzer did a lot better last winter than people were expecting. Yeah. So I'm assuming it will. It strikes me as a year-round thing. It did, of course, regress in the cold months.
So talked about when you what info did you gather from the VP of marketing from White Claw?
Spill it.
They're
Missed-
happy.
But no,
making
They're
money.
really, really
He
happy.
was wearing a
what is their
Rolex. I don't know.
marketing-
What do you want to
what's
know?
Their marketing, what's their marketing strategy?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know from the marketing guy. Not is he happy?
Well, we didn't really talk about the marketing strategy because there really isn't one. It's so word of mouth right now. Like Mike was saying before, it's word of mouth. It's social media. It's just it really is a brilliant product. It's a good name. It's a good package. They're I think one of the better seltzers out there, frankly, because their flavors are pretty clean and true and easy to identify and representative of what they're trying to do. They did it well, and I think they've
Yeah.
earned their top spot. We did talk about the fact that they're going to have to continue to look around the corner at the next thing. So like this summer, for instance, they introduced flavor free. So it's just, I think they call it White Claw Pure.
Pure.
Yeah, which is gross. I thought it would taste
It's like vodka soda, man.
Yeah,
bad.
seltzer water with
Yeah, not a good taste. I would much rather have a LaCroix with, or even the Trader Joe's, which really isn't bad, with a shot of vodka or
Topo
preferably
Chico with like a thing.
Yeah,
What?
with a shot.
So
of
I heard a rumor. Well, first of all, they are marketing. They are using marketing. They are going with influencers and trying to get the kind of organic grassroots.
Oh yeah, they're definitely feeding that beast as they can. When they identify, I think the Instagram handle is Claw Daddies or something like that, and yeah, they send them T-shirts and all the swag and
But
the nonsense.
it's not craft beer. Like I follow a lot of craft beer influencers. It's none of them. So
No.
I'd be curious, how do they determine who they're going to send stuff to?
Send somebody who drinks, anybody, skateboarding Joe, whatever person.
Whoever gets a lot of likes, right?
Yeah,
I
if
mean,
you have a big following, and then
Yeah.
there's companies that do this for a living, is they just find, because I get emails all the time from people who are like, "Do you want to try our mascara?" And it's like, no, can I put it in my mouth? No, I don't want to do that.
You could.
I
Probably
could,
tastes
but
terrible.
not so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
So then, here another rumor I heard, which would just be interesting, is that Ballast Constellation is trying to offload Ballast Point, and one of the people that are interested is Mike's Hard.
What?
That's a great rumor.
This is the Chris Quinn rumor mill over here. I
Right.
love it. Keep churning them out.
Does
Even
it
if
make
these aren't
sense
real, I like them.
to pay $1 billion for a brewery?
I'm not
and
going to pay
then-
$1 billion for
No,
it.
no. I'm saying that. So they
Constellation.
Constellation paid $1 billion. Does it make sense to then turn around and sell it for $75 million?
75 million. That'd be
they would even get
amazing.
that
if
amount
If
they,
out
they
of it?
really,
I think
you
they'd
don't
get
think
more than
Ballast
that.
Point?
but-
Ballast Point's got a big. I bet they're
They're
worth
big.
$75 million.
And they've got a lot of capacity, so you could make a lot of White Claw in that facility.
What's Mike's Heart? Mike Heart. What are they going to do with it?
It still does really well.
What?
Mike's Hard.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
Mike's
It was Utah's like #1 craft beer.
Yeah.
Good job, Utah.
Yeah, no, it still does just fine. It's kind of under the radar, but it sells a lot more than most craft.
Who owns Mike's Hard Lemonade?
the White Claw people,
Yeah, the White Claw people.
Dun dun dun.
which is
Miller.
they're Chicago based.
Yeah.
Thought White Claw was Miller.
No. Miller's late to the game.
It's a company called Mark Anthony Brands.
Mark Anthony Brands.
Chicago based, and Mike's Hard was their big hit, and then they stumbled into the genius of the claw.
I don't think it was stumble, but yeah. Why don't we take a break? This was a nice talk. We can always talk more about seltzer if you want, or we can
Please
stop.
No, I think we
Yeah.
should probably move on. Do
Yeah,
you
I
carry
think we're
seltzer
ready.
at your place?
No.
Pat? No. Okay. Will you
I
ever?
cut
carry
into his
seltzer.
Tito's.
It's called soda water. You mix
yeah.
it with vodka. Okay,
Oh.
I'll put a lime in it if you want it to be a flavor.
Breweries are getting around this because
That's
they're
it.
actually stripping it, though. They actually build it up and strip it so that they don't have to be classified as an RTD or ready to drink, if you use
Yeah.
that here. They're classified under beer because they actually brew it
Unlike the
and then
beer
remove
temple,
everything.
I am still a beer bar. I don't carry the
Oh,
claw. Yeah,
we're
I
gonna
threw down
settle
the
this
gauntlet
off the
right
air,
now.
ladies and
Great.
gentlemen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mud wrestling off Mike.
He's also a. Let's be real. In the summer, you're a Tito's bar.
A Tito's and soda bar.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah, I got to
There
pay
you
the
go.
bills, Chris.
The Tito's Temple. All right. Thank you guys. Fun discussions. We'll be back after a couple, maybe 5-10 minutes of music with more of the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable.
Yay.
Welcome back to the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. I'm with my guests, Mike Zoller, Pat Berger, Nitch, and Josh Noel. And we're sitting here talking about stuff and trying Hellas from Hazy Breweries.
Hazy Brew.
Yeah, it's not...
It's from Ruse Brewing in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, it's
They're
not-
a year
it's nice.
old, 2 years. They're
what do you say, Matt? Pat?
Sorry,
You guys are...
Chris is
Mike and
drunk.
Pat are sharing a mic, so they're now Matt.
I'm still drinking your back in my day. I haven't tried it.
Okay, well, there you go. Vote of confidence.
Yeah.
This is one of the grassier Hellas's I've had in a while.
I would imagine they would throw a whole bunch of stuff in there.
Oh, man, Mike, can you turn up my headphones? All of a sudden, they went down real low. Sorry, I'm being a bit of a prima donna, but...
I can't hear me.
Yeah.
So anyway, regarding hard seltzer.
Exactly. Yeah, so anyway.
Welcome back to the Insider's Hard Seltzer.
That's true. I mean, I won't read the letter because it's a hard seltzer letter.
Oh, read it. Let's hear
Yeah,
it.
read
What
it.
are the people thinking?
Skim
No,
it.
let's not.
Just highlights? Is there a question?
No, let's skip
Just
it. We've talked
seltzer.
about it. Well, we can always come back to it. Maybe we won't do it. What I'll mention is if you do want to read... Oh, by the way, the person who sent the letter here, it was lost. Again, the letter has been lost. So just send it to the Beer Temple. If you ever want to send an actual letter, again, I apologize. 3173 North Elston Avenue. Thanks, Edmar. Well done. Good job. Good job.
Do you think
Losing
he ate it?
there are multiple letters to the show that I know of have been lost here.
Can I just suggest email?
Right.
What is that, an E-letter?
E-letter, exactly.
Ugh.
You know. Insiders@craftbeertemple.com. So, you want to talk about this legislation, Mr. Berger? We were talking about it at the bar yesterday. I didn't even know about it until you told me about it. And then I read Ashley Brandt's libation law blog and learned all about it.
It's a great blog.
Let's just get to the pale ale before the end of the show is my only request.
Cool. Doug Valicki would like that. He's listening live. Hey, Doug, how you doing?
Hey, Doug.
Hello, world.
Well, if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. Mike Roper's showed up in another Crane's article.
He's getting a reputation.
Yeah.
When I'm with industry people now, very often when his name is brought up, it is then brought up that his feelings about this sort of stuff. It's like that is vocalized very quickly now. So he's getting a reputation within the industry as that guy.
And explain what that is.
Yeah,
That
who's
is,
this guy?
he is very much feeling the threat from
Taproom competition.
Taproom
And
competition.
and for those who don't know, such as Nitch from Portland, Oregon, he owns Hopleaf, which is one of the great beer bars in the city.
the Horse
of
Brass
Chicago.
Pub of Chicago.
Oh, good. Look at you and your
Well
PDX knowledge over here, Chris
Mm-hmm.
Quinn.
And he's very out. I mean, the guy will not shy from
He has
No.
an
opinions.
interview or an opinion, and I love him for that.
Yeah.
I go to him all the time.
Nice.
In fact, I quoted him in an article I posted today.
Oh.
But yeah, he's been very outspoken. He's become a national source on the issue of tap rooms, and there are certain breweries he, I believe, won't carry because he doesn't like sort of how they go about their business, and he feels like he helped nurture them into a thing, and now they're competing with him. So he says, "Screw you." And actually, a brewery that he loves is Dovetail, because Dovetail doesn't charge less than he does for their beer. They will give him first dibs on, I think it was the Creek. Actually, that Creek was first tapped at Hopleaf, not at the Dovetail tap room.
wow.
So he appreciates them, for instance. Anyway, so that's the context. And Pat you're also on this Roper tip, aren't you? In terms of not being thrilled about the competition from breweries.
It's not, no. I mean, I guess I'm not thrilled, but
You might want to clarify that
Oh,
statement.
wait. So the law has changed. Wait, what? I'm sorry. What's going on here?
well, all right.
I think what Josh is trying to do is
We have to
set
back
the
up a little
stage
bit.
Got it.
to then let everyone know what has now happened.
So they passed some more laws. Maybe you can explain the distillery law change that went through just yesterday. Or?
Yeah. Do you want to answer? Do you want to state your? It has been left
My stance
out
on
there.
all this?
Yeah.
Well, basically,
because-
they can have
So-
tap rooms now, or what do you call it? Tasting
We'll get
rooms.
to. Hold on.
Sorry.
Let's-
Well, they could always
state
have
how
tasting
you
rooms.
I
said
thought that was
you don't like
Texas.
the. You
They
said
could
you
always
didn't-
have tasting rooms.
You didn't like the extra competition, and then you started to say something.
Well, I'm just saying everything Michael Roper is saying is true, 100% true, right? Yes, they are competition. Yes, they are taking customers away from the traditional bar, the traditional pub. They are, it's a difficult relationship to have with somebody when you are buying their product, knowing that they are also a competitor. Traditionally, we've lived in a 3-tiered system, and I am invested heavily in the third tier, which is the bar and restaurant retail. And lately, holes are being shot in the 3-tiered system through law changes that don't seem to be benefiting me, but are benefiting the first tier. Even the second tier is, not
First
not
tier
being
is the
helped with us.
supplier, the brewer, the maker. The
Right.
second tier is the wholesaler, the distributor. The third tier is the retailer.
Correct.
And now you have some breakdown of that where the first tier, the supplier, can be their own second tier. They can distribute themselves, and then sometimes they can also, and now they can also be their own retailer as well. And their ability to do that is expanding, so they can circumvent the 3-tier in more instances. There's more exceptions to the rule now. It
Yes,
sounds
yes.
like.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've been through this a million times on this podcast, and the recent changes with distilleries. So bars, there's been no change on our end, right? I can't open a brewery. I can't start a distributor. But the producer can do all three. And that is now extended to craft distillers. One of the few advantages I used to have was I could sell liquor, and the tap rooms cannot. I think the brewery tap rooms I'm talking about, are probably, as we speak, trying to draft some legislation to change that. The distillers somehow, unbeknownst
They
to me
can't?
or Chris,
They can't. I thought that
they cannot serve liquor.
what
They
something.
can't.
What just changed? They can do wine though, right? And cider.
Wine and cider.
and other people's beer.
And
That-
Danielle
oh,
was
right,
on the
and guest
show,
taps.
and,
That's
and
new, but still not
specifically-
liquor.
Right,
And she
still not liquor.
specifically did say.
What about hard so? Never
Hold
mind.
on. They specifically did say that they left spirits out of it as to not compete directly with bars. They did. That was stated multiple times, including
Yeah.
on this show. I'm with you, though. I always thought that was going to change, and I think now it gives a very convenient reason to change it soon.
and now they can say, well, wait a minute, the distillers have
That's
something
not
up
fair.
on us.
Yeah.
They can now sell beer, wine, cider, their own distillate, and they've upped the amount of distillate they can sell. And I think, to me, the most disturbing aspect of this is that they can have satellite locations. So
5 of them, right?
5 satellite locations. So they don't have to distill on premise. It's basically a tied house, right?
It is a tied house. It's totally a tied
It's
house.
completely a tied house. And the breweries
And they don't have to.
breweries
They
can do
don't
the
even
same
have
thing.
to do like a ceremonial amount of distilling on.
No.
No, you can off.
No, and they upped the
off-premise
amount.
So it's even loosier goosier than what the breweries can do.
No, the breweries can do that too.
No, they need to brew on premise.
No, they don't.
I'm pretty sure they do.
They don't. And Solemn Oath is about to prove me right, because they're opening a satellite tap room that will not brew.
Are they going to
brew
have
any.
like a
Two
kettle
Brothers
on a
already
pot,
opened
though?
one. It didn't do well.
But even if they,
What's that?
Are they going to have just like a pot on a
No, they don't have to do that.
Burner.
on a burner?
There
Okay.
you go.
I mean,
They don't
that's
even
and that's
actually-
what a lot of them were. And that's why I said ceremonial. I mean, it's pretty irrelevant. Like Jolly Pumpkin is here, and they,
I
don't.
think you're thinking about Ballast Point, who ceremoniously was making, a very tiny amount of beer at their brew
Yeah,
pub.
they have like a 7
Right.
barrel system.
They
or
have to
something
because
insane.
they're so big. But I think if you're under, I don't know the barrelage amount, so I'm not going to say a number. But if you're under a certain barrelage amount, you do not have to make any beer at your satellite location.
And you're concerned as a business owner because what you do is cultivate and curate a specific tap list, and your fear, and you with this other person, is that people are going to go to breweries and these weird
I think
satellite
people already
bars
do.
instead.
Yeah, they already do. I think the larger picture is the death of the bar, of the corner bar in general, and
Don't say that.
Well, it's happening, and all you have to do is look around. Now, bars close all the time, right? Because it's a very trendy business. But normally another bar pops up in its place. That I am not seeing. And, being a publican in Chicago, I keep abreast of places that are for sale. I've never in my life seen this many places for sale. Never. And there are no buyers.
What's for sale right now?
Well, they have, I mean, I can name
In the market?
a whole bunch of places, but it's not going to help their business right now. And,
Well, maybe someone listening will say, "Oh, I want to buy that place."
Well,
Anything
they can
notable?
go talk to a real estate agent.
yeah,
That's
talk
not my
to a
job.
real estate
But,
agent, and you can get it. But I see what Pat's saying. He doesn't want to throw someone under the bus.
No,
publicly.
if they're still open, I'm not going to say they're for sale.
Yeah.
And there's places that are closed and nothing's gone in.
Yes.
Just around Patty Long's, I can name you 5 places that have closed in the last year that have not reopened as anything else. So
Interesting.
Bars and restaurants are hurting.
hurting big time.
Because of breweries?
Well,
And
no, I think that's
distilleries?
one of the reasons. I think drinking is down in general. I think
it's
there's
death by 1,000
I think
cuts.
there's too many breweries, and I think the breweries are changing the laws. Now, look, I don't, we all got into this eyes wide open.
Well, in a different era, before Netflix, right? Before
Before and
delivery
after.
I got
food
into
apps
it before the smartphone, but the
no,
fact
but
is,
that's a thing, right?
right,
I mean, that's
right.
a thing.
And look, and my eyes are wide open. I see what's going on, and I'm not. My difference between me and Michael is knowledge is power. Okay, so we can all argue about whether or not this is the case or isn't. It is. It's about what you do about it, right? It's about how you react to it, because this is a business that you have to react very quickly to changing trends and all the rest. So, that's I would just warn anyone getting into this business that it would behoove you to dabble in all 3 tiers as well. And certainly, if I'm to open another place, that is what I will do.
How have you adapted? And the irony is, I mean, you go into Hopleaf on a Saturday night, they're crushing it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, he says their sales are down 30%. That's a lot.
That's huge.
But I think a lot of people people gravitate to those places because they're looking for guidance. It's not. I don't want to just go to this brewery
An
and get with this
experience,
brewery. Yeah,
right?
you're going
Look,
there.
all you
because
have to do-
more of a diversity.
I mean, look, we have argued this
learning.
on this podcast a
Yeah.
million times, and I'm not interested in getting to the tit and tat of it. All you have to do is look at a popular like Facebook page or something about beer, right? 5 or 6 years ago, when someone was traveling somewhere, their question
let's use
was,
Nitch as an example. Where have you visited?
yeah,
Everywhere.
what bar?
No, here in Chicago.
Oh,
What
here.
places?
I haven't been
Yeah.
to any of
What
the
beer
real
places?
beer-
Have you been to a
breweries.
bar?
Yeah, breweries.
you've only
been
been to
to-
breweries, no bars?
I'm trying to think. I went to a tiki bar. Does that count?
That counts.
Okay, I went to a tiki bar. That was great. No, I haven't been to any beer bars, but I'm going off of, like you were saying here, recommendations. People have told me places to go to,
Yeah.
and they list off specific breweries that they like.
Yep.
Right, and I'm not
Yeah.
blaming anyone for that.
No.
I'm not saying this is wrong. I'm just saying that's the way it is.
Yeah, there was
Makes sense.
a fan of the show who emailed me. Very nice guy.
I mean, I am blaming some people for it.
Right,
but
right.
we'll get into that
Let's
later.
But he said,
Clarify
I'm
here.
visiting Chicago. I love your show. I've learned about a lot of these breweries in Chicago because of your show. I want to visit them. Are there any other places any other breweries you recommend I visit? Also, if I have time, I'll try to stop by your bar.
Oh, what?
Meant very innocently.
Yeah.
Not meant as a slight at all.
No.
So I
It
wonder.
just is what it
I
is.
wonder
That's
if
just the trend.
If it's
That's
going
just the trend.
Well, so exactly. I wonder if it's going to cycle back away from this as the trend, because you go to a brewery tap room, you're going to get a very particular experience and point of view, which is the
Not
trend
anymore.
right now.
That's the thing. That's
That
the
can-
difference. That's
that'll
what we're
change.
talking about.
That'll
Not
change.
anymore. Now you're getting a bar experience.
No, but that's just not true. I mean, if you go,
Yeah, it is.
no, it's not. You go to Mike. I want you to settle this. Tap rooms are not embracing guest taps at this point. They're just not. People are not going to tap rooms for a variety of beers. They're going for the half acre experience.
Yes.
They're going for the dovetail experience.
Yes.
They're going for the fill in the blank experience.
Agree. Yeah. I mean, you think of some breweries that have guest taps. You would never think to get a guest tap there. Forbidden Root has 3 guest taps. When I go there, it's all Forbidden Root.
Right. That's the reason you go there.
Yeah. It's interesting because people, they want to try all these different Chicago craft beers when they're in Chicago for a weekend, and they give me 8 breweries where you could go to one craft beer bar
Right.
and try 5 different craft breweries in one spot, but that's not what they want.
Well, so that's what I was leading up to is I wonder if the trends will. Well, first of all, that's a good ace to have in the back pocket for the breweries. So if they need to diversify, they can. That said, I'm not sure they can do it better than Hop Leaf can. I'm not sure they can do it better than Patty Long's can or the Beer Temple can. And I mean that sincerely. So I wonder if the trend, I'm a big believer that everything's cyclical. And I wonder if things will cycle back in that other direction where I'm in Chicago, I can go to 2 places while I'm there. And rather than going to 2 breweries, I want to go to 2 places that will give me a broad, deep Chicago and Midwest beer experience. And I think that would be a great thing for you guys, obviously, a great thing for the industry, and a great thing for the consumer, too. Because, again, I love Half Acre, but you go there, you're getting Half Acre, and that's it. And why wouldn't you want to go to Hop Leaf where you can get a little, multiple bites of the apple?
I mean, I agree. Of course, I agree. But this is just one thing facing the bar business. This is not, again, unlike Michael, I'm not blaming the sort of downturn in bar business completely on this.
Are both your places down?
No.
So you're doing okay.
Well, Kaiser Tiger is killing it. Kaiser Tiger is a different monster. Mm-hmm. It's not really a bar.
And you're in a great neighborhood, too.
And we're in a great neighborhood, and we're an event space, a beer garden. We have a whole bunch of things going on there.
Don't you have luge or something like that there?
Curling.
Oh, man, whatever.
Luge.
That's the same as
That'd be
luge,
amazing.
I believe.
Luge.
Olympic sport.
Some
Yeah,
journalist.
right. Yeah.
Get it right.
Get your facts straight. No. But, this is just one of the things. I mean, the fact that people are drinking less in general is another big problem. The fact that there were too many bars,
Yep.
To
and
begin
too many
with.
restaurants.
So it's like
and too many restaurants.
There often is too many bars, but then all of a sudden you added 100 more bars that we didn't even know were there. These tap rooms that became bars. It floods the market all of a sudden. So there's going to be some closings. There are some closings. There have been some closings. There's going to be more. Look, I'm not saying this is anyone's fault, really. I'm just saying this is the trend. This is the way it's going. And if you're in the bar business, you better figure out how you're going to be different from these other places, and you better figure out how you're going to get people in there.
Button it up. Yeah, you just got to find your angle.
Isn't also, in a way, social media to blame?
Oh, my Lord.
Right? When you travel,
I hope so.
When you travel, you ask for recommendations. No one's ever saying go to a beer bar. And it's also when you go there, you want to take a picture of where you're at. It's not sexy to take a picture at a beer bar, but to say you were at Great Notion or you were at Dovetail Half Acre and not just at a beer bar getting a pour of Daisy Cutter.
Beer bars are 30, 40 years old in the U.S. Tap rooms are, basically 10, 15 years old. Obviously, they go farther back, but they really got cool starting 10 years ago. Again, I go back to maybe it's a cyclical thing, Maybe it'll head back the other direction.
But that's it too. Is these beer bars aren't going anywhere. Like if you,
Well,
I think
let's
you
hope.
even asked me earlier. You were like,
I don't know about that.
What good breweries are there? And it's like, well,
Is that what that's a good
you
question.
asked-
Yeah,
you
what
said
did I say?
breweries.
Did
You
I say
asked
brewery?
You,
Okay.
the top 3 breweries in Portland, and I went to go name them for you, but it's too many.
Horse
so what I
Brass,
would
baby.
tell
That's
you,
the coolest place.
Horse Brass is my meh. It's too English pub and dark and divey, and the people are really
So
grouchy.
what's your favorite beer bar in Portland?
You have 2
Well, I
right
like
across
it.
the street. I know, right? I'm
Pat's
sure you
laughing.
would.
I love it.
They're
It's one of
really
my
grouchy.
favorite
They take
places,
yeah.
What is it?
They're
Horse
friendly.
Brass is quite popular. It's old. It's very English style.
Oh, that's the one you were just dismissing, right?
Yes,
So
this
what-
one.
what-
I would say Beer Mongers and Apex. They're right across kitty corner from each other, which shows they're symbiotic. They can live in the same space. There are also 5 breweries within walking distance of these 2 beer bars.
and everyone
Goes to
gets
the beer.
along.
The beer, like
Ebony
Beer
and
Mongers
Ivory.
has been there 10 years. They do bottle shares. They only have 9 taps that they installed only like 8 years ago, but they have a beautiful curated list. So you can have the best of everything if you go to this place. Same with Apex. They always have something from
Apex
Russian
is cool.
River if you want to be a tourist. They only do cash. They have pinball machines. You get the whole Portland experience in this place. Bring your own food, You could go to some of the breweries around the way and you would get their standard IPA, hazy, pale, or whatever it is they're brewing. But if you go to these other spots, you get a breadth of knowledge and bartenders that get to experience everything. So you just get a little bit more education, I think. That's
and a
not
far
going
broader
anywhere.
experience.
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
Each brewery is going to send you to another brewery. But
Like,
the same,
I-
all the
I
places
just,
I
you
went
know,
to, no one recommended
If
any.
we want to get rid of the 3-tiered system, I am the first one to sign up. Let's get rid of it.
Interesting.
What I don't like is when
Two
holes
sets
are
of
punched
rules?
in it that help
Favor some
everyone
and not
favor
others, yeah.
everyone but me.
Interesting. I wonder what the law is different in Oregon. I don't know why.
Are your tap rooms allowed to serve liquor?
I don't know.
Are your tap rooms allowed to serve
Other people's
wine
beer?
or cider?
But is that really an
other
issue?
people's beer?
I mean,
Yes.
still, people go to Half Acre to drink Half Acre.
I'm trying to think. I think sometimes they have
Well,
whiskeys.
yeah, and this is
I
another.
don't think they even do.
This is another very short-sighted, I think, approach by craft beer right now. Craft beer, I mean, let's not beat around the bush. It's shrinking, right? And
No, craft beer is still growing.
Globally, think globally.
No, it's growing in the U.S.
In the U.S.,
Beer is shrinking, but craft beer is still growing.
All right, well,
It's growing very slowly.
is it growing as quickly as the amount of breweries that are opening?
No.
But the breweries that are growing are the smallest ones.
Well, there's too many breweries.
Oh,
And
that's too. I mean,
how many of them? I've heard it from a lot of brewery owners. I wouldn't be open without my tap room.
right?
I wouldn't be open without it.
Yeah.
Well,
No, the
I-
tap room
I
is
100%
what
believe it.
has brought us to 7,500 breweries and counting.
Right, right.
Absolutely.
And also,
So where
yeah.
where are they getting their drinkers from? Are they creating new drinkers?
possibly they could be inspiring. A brewery opens up down the street. You
not
learn about
possible.
their
Yeah, no,
beer.
they're probably they're taking them from you,
Right.
and they offer an experience. Yeah.
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 It's just competition. I mean,
Yeah,
it
so
is
it's competition.
Look, this isn't. I'm not again.
Yeah.
I'm not saying bad breweries. Oh, don't do this. But there's too many of them that would not survive without their tap room. So they got to have their tap room. And now they're going out. They're kind of shooting themselves in the foot because they have less accounts to sell to because they've opened their tap rooms, right? So now they have to sell more beer in their tap room or just sales period in their tap room. So now they have to sell food. Now they have to sell liquor. Now they have to sell beer and wine and, appeal to a larger audience than just the people that go to breweries in order to survive. And, here we are.
Are there any breweries that you are not carrying anymore as a result of?
No, I don't boycott people or anything. I'm not, again, knowledge is power. I know these things. This is the way things are going. I'm going to react to them the way I can. I'm certainly not going to make, to handcuff myself by not offering a beer that people want. I'm not, I'm not a martyr.
Yeah.
Yet.
No. No, I'm not boycotting anyone. I'm just saying, hey, slow it down in Springfield and stop changing all these laws.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about pale ale, Josh. I think
Speaking
we're
of
ready.
cyclical,
Yes.
yeah.
So, friend of the show, Mr. Doug Valicki, had a really interesting article on his Beer Cruncher website about
And Doug, it should be noted, is also CFO. Is that it? He's CFO of
CFO
of
and-
Revolution
and head of
Brewing.
marketing.
And head of marketing, and he
Two
worked
very
in
different hats.
distribution for a long time.
Yes.
And he is also a beer writer with his Beer Cruncher website.
Yes.
One of my favorite beer writers right now, honestly.
Yeah, he's awesome. Wonderful insights. And he was writing about really just the hard spot that pale ale is in as a style, and that frankly it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. Pale ale is this is the style that built craft beer originally, and it's he didn't say going the way of the dinosaur, but he said it's not going to come back. And it was interesting.
He said the long tail may help keep pale ale afloat.
Yeah, it's not
meaning
like
all
I
those,
said, it's not
those
going
small,
away the
small
dinosaur. It's not
breweries.
going extinct.
But it's basically that is losing share in the market as IPA continues to grow. Session IPA continues to grow,
Session IPA
which some people argue but it's just pale ale, man.
doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. I mean, I get from a brewing perspective, it is a different beer. I get that.
I actually would say Session IPA is starting to really make sense in the era of hard seltzer.
hard
But yeah,
seltzer.
where people are thinking like fewer calories, fewer carbs, and like Session IPA sort of fits into that. The 3.8 IPA that is
I want all
99
the flavor
calories, and
and
and they don't want to
things.
call it a pale ale, so they'll call it.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, it is interesting. I mean, his point was, one, it's not called IPA, it's called pale ale, and that the
Which
biggest,
just sounds old at this point,
right. And like the top 10 pale ales were all down except for one that
Sierra Nevada.
No,
No,
that's
they're down.
The one that said Citra, we called it a seltzer, Citra Pale Ale. He said, that's how they kind of got that one to actually not wither on the vine, and because the sales are down, it's going to have less placements, so it has less opportunity to sell, so the sales will continue to decline, so it'll get less placements, so the sales will continue to decline, and just how he saw this kind of momentum working against pale ale, and that really it is an it does leave a space in between session IPA and which are getting lower in alcohol, to your point, Josh, and IPAs, which tend to be stronger than pale ales, and just also a different profile where session IPAs are much thinner than and don't have that the malty backbone that a pale ale does, and obviously, I mean, people who know me know that I would not be a fan of that. I think Sierra Nevada is still. There are some like legacy beer. Like here, I'll throw some shade. I won't even be asked to do it because I know you love it when people do that.
Yeah, shade away.
I like it.
Pop that umbrella.
We had Anchor Steam on. I did not buy that beer for the bar. I'm not a fan of Anchor Steam. I don't think it's really an especially good beer personally. So it's not that I think all legacy brands are great. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale is still
Does
what's
it sell?
Yes.
Yeah, Anchor Steam's a little dated. I think I have a video on my YouTube channel I made a long time ago, like 6 years ago. I've only done this once. I did a match, and this is how long ago it was possible to do this. I took all of the beer reviews on YouTube of Anchor Steam. I think you're in it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And I took them all apart, and I made 2 parts. And I just mashed them together into kind of this weird, coherent beer geek concept of what Anchor Steam tasted like and where it came from. It's a very funny thing. If anyone gets a chance,
Okay.
go watch
Quinn
it.
is in it.
And I think, one of your old ones is in there.
Probably
very
had
likely.
hair. A little hair.
I loved your YouTube videos. You should do more. They're so educational.
It takes time.
How's
know, it
Pale Ale
does.
doing in Portland? Because, just anecdotally thinking about it,
Probably.
Daisy Cutter's still
Daisy Cutter's my favorite.
an ascendant beer in Chicago. The Nisi Lounge dude on Twitter the other day said that Daisy Cutter has been his top-selling beer for 7 years running or something like that.
But
That's great.
That's so Chicago specific, right? Same thing.
Oh, it is, yeah,
With
absolutely.
Fist City.
Yeah, Doug didn't.
He didn't mention.
He didn't mention
No,
Fist
no,
City.
which
How
probably makes sense,
funny!
right? He probably-
Doug, text us. How's Fist City doing?
By the way, it's an IPA.
Oh yeah, well, there's
Is it?
that. Well,
They
it's
don't call it that.
yeah, they call it a pale ale.
You know, Alpha
End
King's,
of the- end
Alpha
of the-
King's my number one seller, and they call it a pale ale, but that's an IPA. I mean, it's got to be hoppy to sell.
So we may just do that thing where
So maybe-
pale ales kind of die away, and then they come. Like, look at lagers having this huge
Cyclical,
resurgence.
yeah.
So, like you're saying again,
Or is
they'll
it just
come back.
semantics too? I mean that
I don't think it's. I think it is some semantics. I think if they came up with a new style that was that beer
my
that said
goodness.
pale IPA in it, it would probably do
An
better.
IPA is a pale ale, by
Right,
the way.
that's
the
the-
BJCP judge is coming out in me.
it's an Indian
So
pale
I'm
ale.
sorry,
exactly.
but it is a pale ale. There's pale ale.
Also,
and
a
then
stout
there's
is a
branch
porter.
from it. Okay, so
We have
if we're
hazy
talking about
pale
pale
as well.
ales, IPAs are pale ales.
Yeah, it's true. So someone somewhere is going to make some kind of a.
So really, maybe it's really less about the beer and it's more about the terminology.
It's about the name, yeah. I actually wonder how many people.
I
do
don't. I
people
don't
know what IPA
necessarily
stands for?
agree with that.
No,
Really, you think there are people who don't?
I don't
There could
agree.
be.
I love it in French. People call it an IPA.
I think that style, that flavor profile, is not as prevalent as it once was. I
And
don't think
explain
it is, but it's called something else, which I think is maybe what I thought you were saying. Is
well,
that
that, no,
you
that
still
is
get
well.
that beer,
It's
but
not
now
what I was
called something
arguing.
different.
It's what I was throwing out there as an idea. Yes,
I
People are
don't
getting back to
personally
maltier as
think
well.
that.
And so that's what I was going to ask. Is it a matter of malt and balance?
People
Is
are
that
going
what
back
you're
to this.
talking about?
Mike, you were just
Chris,
talking
is
about
that what you're
a
not
place
seeing?
doing an ESB.
Yeah, that's what I'm not
Is
saying.
malt and balance basically?
Correct.
Because I mean, Sierra Nevada Pale Ale is pretty
I
darn
think
malty.
Nitch is
by-
from the future. I mean, the
I'm from the
Portland,
future.
Seriously.
it comes this way. No, we joke
Can you
about
get a
that
pale
because-
ale with a pump of CBD in it
Of
in
course.
Yes, then that means it's
That's what
coming
you
here.
get.
You're just going to chill out. But most breweries you go to, do they not still brew a pale ale? They will have to show part of their core range. Generally,
a
no,
good
or not
question.
anymore.
A lot
Not
of the
here.
new breweries don't have pale ales.
They just don't do it.
Think
They're
about it.
like
If you could-
IPA, hazy, lager, weird something collaboration.
Well, Dovetail doesn't. Those.
No.
Well, no, that
I-
doesn't
But
count.
feel like
Gosh darn them.
The last 5
Fine.
breweries
I
open in
I
Chicago.
bet there's one on at Haymarket right now. I bet there's one on
Yeah,
at
I'm
Beguile.
sure. Yeah, there definitely is one there. There's one at
They're
Spiteful.
they're probably
There's one
they're
at
not on
Half Acre.
supermarket shelves right now. Is probably really what it comes down to.
But also think of the newer breweries. You just named Beguile, Haymarket, been around forever. Think of Pilot Project, Midwest Coast, even Cruz Blanca. They don't have pale ales.
No,
But the Darling,
Sketchbook probably does. I mean, maybe they don't count as new.
but Maplewood does, and they are the.
that's their big
huge
jam,
success.
right? Yeah.
It was.
Charlatan.
It's not anymore. Now it's
Juice Pants,
Yeah.
Juice Pants.
Hazy.
Juice Pants.
They've gone the way of
That's one I
hazy
keep
and
hearing
pastry
about as
stouts.
well. Maplewood.
Maplewood's got a
It's worth checking out.
they got a nice vibe going. They got the kids are into them.
Well, what do you guys tell people when it's like, what brewery should I go to? You say go to bars.
I say go to Hopleaf, Beer Temple, Patty Long's, and Kaiser Tiger.
As you should. And this is my too. Like I have my top
No,
5
Matt, answer
beer
there,
bars.
Josh.
You don't say map room?
What's map room?
Oh, wow! That says
What?
a lot. Map Room and
where we're at this
Hopleaf
world,
are
ladies and gentlemen.
are the two beer bars in Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah.
No one has even.
How long are
these
you in
words
town?
Have not. I'm here until Tuesday. I have plenty of time.
Oh yeah, go to Map Room.
Okay. Because I was. You know what? Today, actually, I started to slog along
I don't
the
know. If you don't like-
malt row today, and I got 3 breweries and was like, I hate this.
Yeah, no, that's
I don't want to do this
that
anymore.
malt
I want
row
to sit in
thing
one
is a little
place
over-
and
That
get
thing is
everything given to
overhyped,
me.
and it's
I
just-
hated it.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I want all the beers that I want.
Have you been to
delicious
Off
ones.
Color yet?
Yes, at the Mouse Place.
Yeah, the Mouse
Deal.
Place. The
That
Mouse
was
Place is,
delicious.
No, I
is
like
wonderful.
the Mouse Place.
I did that
I'm
one
calling
as
it
well.
that from now
The
on.
Mouse Place.
Mouse Place.
Wasn't it? It's
I'm going to
the
go to
name
the
of
Mouse
bar.
Place and get a bubblegum face.
Yeah.
Can we get that T-shirt? Off
And
Color,
my
the Mouse Place.
S'mores. I want Dino S'mores.
They announced today they're going
canning.
into cans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they
That's
better. And you want to know why? Because when I was there, I was like, excuse me, do you have anything in cans? No. Well, I'm not going to buy any of your stuff because I can't fit it in my suitcase.
That was why they made the announcement today.
Yeah.
Because
they're
I
going
was
to
there.
Because Nitch.
Because I was just there. This is exact. Thank you.
Ed Moore
I'm
would
fully
like
aware.
to point out that there are 3 pale ales on right now at Mars.
Oh.
There you go. I'm sure they're all haze whales. So I think it's time to wrap it up.
Can we just do an extra hour? We're doing good tonight.
We can do
Yeah, I'm
off
fine with
air.
it.
I wanted to. Someone said we should do a like a Patreon and have like you
Ooh,
know
the
what we all
after hours
talk.
when
we
we
all
get
sit and
drunk.
talk afterwards.
I can use all the George Carlin words.
Yes, you can
getting
use
cold
you can
in
use
here.
all the adult words. That's I have the door open now.
Ooh.
Ed Mar will probably come down, smoke inside.
Where is Edmar?
like he does.
He seems like he's just.
above
Is he
us.
just upstairs?
He's
That's
above
what
us
it sounds.
right
It
now.
feels like when I listen.
That's
to
my main beer
the
recommendation
podcast.
in Chicago is meet Edmar.
Yeah.
He seems just like a weird specter that appears occasionally around.
He is a very
but he's
weird
like
specter.
omnipresent.
He just called me a George Carlin word, so that's all I can't say. Anyway, guys, is there anything you would like to say in closing? Any closing remarks, Mike? Anything you would like to say? Not to put you on the spot, but
Yeah. No, I mean, I think with Chicago, as we continue to drink here, explore other horizons, get outside of the hazies and the pastry stouts. Midwest Coast Brewing, we were talking about with Nitch.
Yeah.
It has an ESB on that's
That's what they launched
phenomenal.
with.
Yep, exactly.
That's brilliant.
And, if you're getting into craft beer now, expand right away because these trends of these pastries and these hazies, eventually they're going to die out. There's so much good beer out there. This is not a new take at all. I'm sure this has probably been said on the show before, but I think it's so important to say it again. It's like there's so many good beers out there.
There's so many good things out there. And if you're interested in things other than craft beer, like marijuana, cigars, cider, tiki bars, whatever, you
no
can hang out
calls.
with
No,
me.
no calls to action. But you
But I
can
said
say
hang
you
out with
exist.
me.
Yes, you
I
did.
can say hang out.
Yes, you can.
Tasting
That
Nitch
is a
on
good
all the
action, right?
platforms. Thank you.
You can. Those
And
are
I
words
do
you're allowed to
morning
use.
beer live stream every day at noon. It's really wacky. I just hang out, and if you want to come be part of live stream, be part of it. It's really fun.
Can I plug an article I wrote in the Tribune or not?
No.
You can say that it was written.
Okay, well, an article was posted today on the Tribune. It is, in a world of clickbait, it is the opposite of clickbait. It is about a 60-year-old white man who makes beer. It is a 2,000-word article. It is like antithetical to everything on the internet right now, and it's my favorite thing I've written in a while. It is about Golden Prairie Brewing. So just Google Golden Prairie and Chicago Tribune, and
They've won some hardware.
they won a. So this guy had a brewery in Chicago in the 90s. He made coffee maple stout back when no one was making coffee maple stout. Like, this guy was way ahead of his time. He went out of business in 2000, and now the brand is back. And they just got a brand new distributor. They're with Glun's now, so they're going to try to...
Many famous brewers worked at Golden Prairie.
Nick Floyd worked there.
Yeah.
Josh Death worked
Yep.
there.
Greg Brown.
Founder, Greg Brown. And so their Golden Prairie won a gold at GABF last year for its Doppel Alt. So speaking of like the anti-hazy IPA, anti-pastry stout, Doppel Alt is is where you want to be.
Some very
Balling it up
old
right
school
now.
Very
Chicago beer
interesting
guys
style.
have gone into Argus. I wish they would have changed the name because Argus made some terrible beer.
But let me say, Argus
but
beer
now
is
they
good
are
now.
now they're him and John Fryer.
Yep.
They got a
Pat knows.
Yeah, they got a really great scientist in there as well. I can't
Mary
remember her name.
Pelletieri.
There you are.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, wow. She's
And
there.
their
She's
beer
no
is
joke.
fantastic. Yeah.
Mary
so-
worked at Goose Island. She worked at Miller. She works
Yes.
or worked for the Brewers Association.
She's-
Mary is
she's the
legit.
real
She
deal.
came in. She tightened all the practices. So basically, yeah. So we're getting the wrap this up, bro. Signal. Anyway, check out the Golden Prairie story that I published, or that was that
Now
happens
you-
to
and
be
you have to do a call
online.
to action.
You did it.
I was
Bad
gonna
landing.
make
what's up?
I was gonna make a exclusive
action?
announcement,
Ooh.
Chris.
Let's do it.
Well, everyone knows I love the Pilsner Urquell, the unfiltered especially.
Yes.
Patty Longs is going to, for Halloween, dress up as the Pilsner Urquell cellar.
Yes.
And we will
What?
have a very large amount of unfiltered Pilsner Urquell. We will be doing all of the different pours that we talked about earlier tonight. It will be
pours.
full on weekend of unfiltered Pilsner.
All right. Sounds
October,
exciting.
I don't know, what, 24th?
I drink more
October
Pilsner
26th,
Urquell because of you.
All right.
You know that, right?
Thank
I
you,
did
guys.
not. Oh.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. That's all the time we got. We're getting played off. We'll see you next week.
Really?
Buenas noches.